We are building the top trumps project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. Previously, we saw how we could determine the winner for, let's say, a given move, depending on whether the key is larger the better or, let's say, smaller the better. Either way, we have a winner. Now, having obtained this winner, we need to now redistribute the cards. So let me just say redistribute the cards. Now, remember, if whoever basically wins gets both the cards. However, also recall that when we had started the game loop, we had put both the cards to the table cards. So when I pop out a card, let's say from the player cards or the computer cards, in fact, we have appended both of them to the table cards, which means that both the cards are actually as part of the table cards. I will just write my code that, look, if say winner is equal to player, well, that means that the player must get both the cards. I can use the extend function here because remember, player cards is a list. I want to attach that entire list to the end of my player cards. So I can just go and say, well, player cards dot extend. Remember, because we're dealing with the list to be extended here. We have seen this before. For example, in the card table, in the card game war is exactly the same idea. I extend this to the table cards and I go and say clear the table cards. Remember, clear is like remove all items from the list, but let the list be. So basically list becomes empty, and that's what we want because the table cards will be lifted up by the player, put at the end of the stack. On the other hand, let's say, elif, let's say, winner is say a computer. Well, I will do exactly the same thing. However, instead of the player, it's the computer cards that will have the cards going to the that will get the basically the table cards, right? And the table cards will be cleared off. And in fact, this is all we need. Now you might wonder what happens in case there is a draw. Actually, the answer is very interesting. Remember, the table cards already contain both the cards. In case of a draw, the table cards remain as it is because those cards stay on the table. Player and computer go and pick up new cards. So we don't really need to do anything. Also notice that this code is carefully written. It's if and elif. There is no if and else. Now let's just imagine if I done if winner is player, else do this without the winner computer. Even in case of draw, I will end up here. That's a mistake. There are two conditions here. One for the player, one for the computer. The third condition has already been taken care of. And that's the usage of if elif here. But really, this is all we need. In fact, we can now see this working. So notice we start with 15 cards each. This looks like a very old building. I think I'll try to win this by saying year built. Well, this is Leaning Tower of Pisa. Indeed, I won. If I look at, let's say the len of say player, cards, that has become 16. Len of say compute cards has become 14. Yeah. Let's take one more example. Let's say I choose, perhaps I will try to choose maybe height for this building. Might lose. Well, computer 1. In this case, len of, let's say, table cards, of course, will be 0. Len of, let's say, player cards is 14 and len of compute cards is let's say 16. That's exactly what I wanted. Now this is actually very similar to the card game war, except that there is no war happening here. Think through this carefully, especially the use of this if elif. Also the fact that the draw case has already been taken care of over here. I hope this was useful. We will come back in the next video to complete the game loop, and then we can play this repeatedly to see the whole game working quite nicely. Once again, if building activities like this is something you enjoy, it makes you learn programming better, look at our website because that is how we learn Python programming. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.